I think we're on.
Yes.
I think we're on. You want more color? No, we're doing black and white today.
You know what's so super cool? I have to just jump into it straight away. Like
What are you?
with my
I have no idea what you're going to talk about.
No intro, anything. They're playing the leapfrog.
What?
You know, they watched the leapfrog. They watched the leapfrog movie. Our kids are in the room today playing, right?
For about 2 seconds.
Yes, they're not jumping up and down behind the computers here.
Until still they were 5 minutes ago.
For now, yes.
Right.
So they have watched the Letter Factory, Letter Factory movie by Leapfrog.
Okay. The company.
And yes, and they're now in their room and they're playing letters and they're creating words and stuff.
Wow.
I know.
I'm kind of shocked. I don't know what to say.
I know, that's so
It's
cool.
shocked in a cool
That's so
way.
cool because Sora is just learning how to read, right? She's just learning how to put letters together into like 3-letter or 4-letter words. And they're singing the songs from Leapfrog and they're creating words and everything. So cool! I love Leapfrog.
Is that what the bee says?
Yes.
Says
That's it. Oh no! Now they're putting words
sound.
together. They go first. You have the M, and then you add the at. Put them all together,
And you get frog.
mad. And you get fat.
Fat.
Take the sausage, put it on a pizza.
The cat sat in the mat and got fat.
So yeah,
That's
so cool. That's
Right.
so cool. I've just noticed that about like 13 seconds ago, and that's so cool.
Good job. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Welcome to Practical Parenting, everybody, here on Facebook and there on YouTube and wherever you're looking at us. This is G and me, and we are very practical.
Almost.
Yes.
You're full of energy today.
I am,
What
because
happened?
I just had a sip of coffee.
Is that coffee?
That's magical coffee.
Yeah. It looks like coffee. It looks like it's got something floating in it.
Oh no, Jasmine heard the word coffee. She's coming here to get
You
it.
see, you've overdone it already. Right.
What?
We have to be kind of cool, calm, and collected. 'cause
Oh my
we're
god,
not-
I can't do
the
that.
kids want to come and join in with
You can't do
everything,
that.
which is great. But
Here,
we've had
you do it.
disasters before.
Go.
There's cables all over the place.
She's playing ice cream parlor.
This is not a studio. We're actually in the living room. So this is right. And people think that oh look, it's a nice studio. It's it's
No,
not.
they don't.
It's not. They do. I bet they look at it and say that.
You think?
I think they do.
I think they look
do.
at it and say, "Oh my god, how professional that is!" And if we
I
have
do
if we
think
have
they
that
do.
little thing like running down at the bottom, like through Lightstream, right?
Yeah, it's
You're
called.
watching this and this.
I learned the terminology.
What's it called? Is it
called-
called?
it's called
Let me guess. Is it called a little thing running down the bottom?
No, it's not. Not at
No?
all. No,
Okay.
you're completely wrong as usual.
What's it called?
It's called a lower third.
Excuse me.
It's called a lower third. When you have the titles going across the bottom, right, with the person's name.
It's called a lower third.
It's actually called a lower third.
Sounds like
'cause-
something completely different.
because-
Oh, my lower third is itching.
Yeah, I
you
know. It sort of sounds like a type of exercise you should do, right?
Don't worry.
But anyway, how do we get onto that already? Oh, the image.
Yes.
I have to do it. Batman. I can't do a George Clooney accent, so I have to go for the Michael Keaton version.
Which is weird because just
What?
because.
Just because.
Just
I always thought
because.
Val Kilmer was a great Batman. I thought he was cool, but then he got fat, so now he's fat.
I didn't even know he
now
was a
he's
fat
fat
Batman.
man instead of Batman.
Val Kilmer, wasn't he in the Braveheart or something?
No, that was Mel Gibson.
Oh, I
That was
always get those two mixed up.
They
Because
don't look like each other.
But
at
they have
all.
like 3 letters in their first name and then 5 letters in the second, and it all gets mixed up.
KILN.
6 letters in the second. Yes. But Gibson has 6 as well. Well, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's the same pattern.
Right.
Val Kilmer, Mel Gibson. No.
Going to the shops. I
never
don't know. Is
mind.
that the same
Never
pattern?
mind. Never mind.
You're talking about memorizing patterns.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I memorize patterns rather than the actual name.
That's kind of interesting. I memorize rhythms.
Well, it's got the same rhythm.
Yeah, you put stuff to rhythm, and people tend to remember it a bit more. There's a guy on YouTube called Fluency MC who does learning English with raps, and the funny thing is he's an old white guy, and
Right.
just I think old, not old like 70, but older than you should be when you're doing rap, right?
Okay.
You don't want to be.
Okay, so he's not like your 17-year-old.
He's not bad at what he does,
person.
but at the same time he's not good either. So,
The image might have something to do with it as well.
oh, he does his best. So that's cool. I
Probably
can't
pretty
complain.
useful
He's
for
had
people,
these,
though, you know.
he did a
I mean, if it helps people, then whatever.
he did an irregular verb rap, and it got like 5 million views on the internet.
Did you use it with your students?
No, because I thought it was shit. So 5 million people thought it was fantastic, and I thought it was absolutely terrible. So I refused to use it.
But you're a native speaker. Maybe if I watch it, I will think something else of it.
Well, I've noticed
you
that
don't
my
have the-
opinions don't correlate with anyone else's.
You
on the
don't
planet.
have the experience of learning in foreign language, you know.
I
mean, you know everything.
Well, what do you
about
mean I don't
your
have the
language.
experience? What about Slovak? I can speak Slovak.
But you've never learned it, like structured learning, you know.
Oh, I never sat down with a book.
You never sat down and went, okay, this is nouns, this is the conjugation, you know, this is the declination, this is how we do things, this is what, you know, masculine and feminine looks like when declined.
Conjugation and declination are not my strong points. Just in case you didn't realize that already.
Well, yes, I have, actually. But that's what I'm saying, you know. You didn't really sit down and learn foreign language the way that your students are doing it.
I don't have time. I don't have time to sit down with a book.
I know.
stick
It's
my
not a
head in
reproach.
book
It's not a reproach. I'm just saying that maybe in some situations,
I did.
you know, when you don't understand why people like something like that, it might be because they're looking at it from a different point of view.
Oh no, I get it. Look, if the shoe fits, wear it. Right? Does that make any sense?
Does that mean you're going to buy me a new pair of shoes?
No. I had to walk. I had to
doing-
walk through the shopping centre already this morning, and nothing but women staring at bags and shoes.
I'm just doing the female stereotype here.
It's the end of the
Just
universe.
the female stereotype. I never
The
had
end-
anybody buying me shoes better because I think it's ridiculous.
The end of the universe is a shopping mall, with women wandering around it, buying more stuff that they don't need, and men wandering around it,
And buying
more
stuff that they don't need
as well.
Only they usually aggregate in different shops, right? Men will walk around Gatto.
Technical stuff, men to the left. Clothing and shoes, women to the right.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Men follow the blue arrow, women follow the pink arrow.
there's even a toy shop to keep the kids entertained. Or is that for the dads?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I think
Right.
both.
Both, probably.
I like toy shops.
And then when you get hungry, you can go to the restaurant. They've thought it all out very carefully, haven't they? They've got everything for everyone.
And the air conditioning that makes you thirsty
You've got
immediately
sex
after you come in.
What?
Immediately after you come in, you get thirsty, right? Because they've got the air conditioning running, and it just dries you out like a little prune, and you just wander around the mall like a prune, and you have to
feel
go
like a
and have a
prune.
drink somewhere, right? So even the cafes make
bit
money.
What? Sorry?
Even the cafes make money
Um,
because people get prunified immediately, and they have to go and have a drink.
those cafes they're not, the cafes in the shopping centre are not actually, I figured it out, they're not actually cafes. They're galleries. It's all part of the moving experience. Yeah, people don't go to art galleries anymore. They go to the shopping mall and observe what other people are doing. They look at the fashions and the styles or the states, depending upon what it is.
Well, I
that
think
they're
it depends on the person, right? I mean, I've been in a cafe in Europe multiple times, and it was always to meet someone and talk to them rather than observe other people. But I imagine there are people who walk around and observe other people. I imagine there are people who walk around and
people.
I imagine people walk around and want to display things that they have. I don't know.
Well, I do get the feeling that the shopping center is a place where people show themselves off at their best, or try to do that. Okay, there are a large number of people who put on their best clothes when they go shopping in the shopping center, shopping mall if you're American, shopping center if you're British. If you live in the desert somewhere, this makes no sense to you, but never mind.
If you live in a desert somewhere, you're probably not listening to this.
Oh, I don't know. I thought the kind of internet is probably everywhere. If you're lost in the middle of the desert, you probably can't get any water.
In the middle of Sahara, you just go like, oh, damn, I just lost my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right? Meanwhile, you pull up an application on your phone which shows a glass of water and you try to drink it, right? I mean, that's the insanity that we've
You just go Google.
Listen,
how to get water in the middle of Sahara.
Did we talk about the fact that there's the new iPhones have settings for taking pictures of food?
Yes.
I mean, that's just mad.
Well, I don't know if we talked about it like here, but we've talked about it somewhere in the kitchen, I think, when I was taking pictures of food. I was taking a picture of...
That's what sparked it.
I was taking a picture of food because I have this friend, his name is Monica, and...
Is that the wedding one?
Yes, the wedding Monica. Oh, funnily enough, she watched, sometimes she watches these, and she happened to watch exactly the one with the wedding. Yeah, she was like, oh, I just kind of clicked at a random point in the video just to see what you were talking about, and I overheard my name. So I listened for a while, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, it seems like G thought it was very negative. He talked about it very negatively, but it wasn't a big deal, that people didn't send us songs. And he was like, he was very negative that day.
Well, number one, I don't like weddings. I think they're a complete
that's what I explained to her.
Complete waste of time and money.
He just doesn't like weddings.
I could think of 1,001 better things that the money could be spent on than food. That for people who are not hungry, and drinks for people who are already drunk. So I really don't see the point in that. And rant, wedding. Who needs frilly tablecloths? Who needs wedding planners? Who needs to worry about dresses? Who needs...
Nobody's worrying. It's all a big party. It's all like I'm having people...
I've had enough parties. I've been to enough parties.
If you go to a wedding, it's
trashed myself enough times.
Having people that you love in one place to celebrate an event that is important in your life and to be happy for you. That's what it is. Forget the frilly tablecloths and forget the silly music. It's there because you want to give something to the people who came to you to celebrate your special life event with you. It's a give and take. It's an old granny that I love, and I'm going to play the silly music that she loves for her, and I'm going to play something else for somebody else, right?
Not convinced.
And they come there to be there. And this, I mean, it's... I don't know. Maybe you haven't been to a wedding of a really good friend that you really loved, that that you were really happy for, that he found the love of their life.
Don't get me wrong. I'm really happy for the people. But doesn't mean I have to love everything about everything that's going on, right? And I'm definitely not going to pretend that I'm enjoying something that I'm not enjoying.
Well, I'm not going to pretend that I enjoy music that I don't like, but I understand why it's there. I understand it's there for the people, for other people who are there, except for me, besides me. I mean, who like that kind of thing, and I know why those people are there, and I know why the groom and the bride want them to be there, and to enjoy themselves. And if you've got a large group of very, very various people, you can't have everybody enjoying every little part of the thing, right?
Yeah, of course not. So strangely enough, I don't like any of the parts.
Well, that's you.
You've got an extremely
high standard for yourself.
You told me afterwards that Monica and her husband, whose name escaped.
Euro. That's what Will said. I was like,
oh, Mr.
Why on earth would anybody call their child Euro?
Mr. Money.
That's a normal Slovak name, right? Spelled with a J.
It's like pronounced like with the pronunciation is like DJ, right? Yeah.
Well, you see, the name begins with a J. The original name begins with a J. So originally you pronounced the euro as like the money, and Judo D-I-G is only pronounced as a nickname. It's just a nickname.
Yeah.
Right. So
when I go to the local copy shop, they have a special file under my name.
Yeah.
And a special folder, and when I first went there, they said, "Oh, we'll create the special folder," and I brought them all the PDF copies of books that I wanted to copy, so they've got like a file of everything there, so it's all organized. And they were like, "Oh, what should we call the file?" And I thought, "Just call it G." Right? Okay. So next time I went there, I was helping them like find the file on their computer, and they spelt it
DZ and I.
No, it's JI. They spelled it J-I. Isn't that really weird?
Yee.
That's what they think my name is.
That's really cool. I like it. I'm going to call you.
Scottish guy called Yee.
I think I'm going to call you Yee.
You can. It doesn't work for a Scottish person. If you were Chinese,
I'm going
it
to
would
because
work.
because it's so funny, because it's going to immediately make me smile, because you can't say Yee without smiling. Try to say it without smiling. You see?
Can't say it at all.
Yeah, even when you're all serious and you say Yee, you still have to do that like smiling motion with your mouth. You know, because you can't pronounce it when you move this.
It's a very happy name.
You can't say Yee.
It's a very happy name. You know, if we had another little boy, we could call him Yi, and we just tell everyone, oh, it's an ancient Cantonese name or something.
And then when you sing the carols and you go, "Oh come all ye faithful," he'd be in the carol.
He'd be very faithful. But that's going a bit far. It's going a bit far. Hey,
a bit of brainstorming here.
Hey,
going on.
Oh look.
A bit too much storming and too little brain.
Look, the international sportsman is on. Look at that. Oh, if you're watching online, give us a thumbs up, or a smiley face, or you're probably watching with the sound off, as most people do watch with the sound off. So
yeah. If you are, just watch my hands.
Oh, that actually did sort of look like the little hand going across the screen. If you're listening to the podcast, we're sorry. We're goes the other way, pal.
The smiley face as well. You can go.
Do the angry one.
I'm not really good at. You're good at angry faces, and you're all red already. So, but you're green. Is that why you didn't put color on?
That's why we're so white on the screen. Because I go pink.
Okay. See, I didn't realize that.
Oh my god.
So what were we talking about?
A whole lot of irrelevant language points, which belong on a language podcast rather than a parenting one. But we got into it through the fact that the kids watched the film and the educational film, and then started to
reenact.
They made everything stuff with Lego, because Zora said to Will, "I've got a surprise for you." Right?
So this is a very funny thing.
Tell everybody what happened.
Okay, so they were playing in the kitchen, right? And Zora said, "Will measure me," and Will measured her, but he pulled her hair accidentally. So she got really angry at him, and she did a full, like a full-blown, like lashing out. She went, "You just pulled my hair," and then she blew a raspberry, and then she ran off, and then she slammed the door, right?
She did what? She blew what?
A raspberry.
A raspberry? What's that?
Strawberry? What do you blow? What's the F? When you go, yeah.
Where did you get that from?
What do you call that?
I
don't know, but she does it quite often.
Yes?
Yeah. When she's when she's
Okay,
angry.
raspberry. I get
Yeah.
it. It's a raspberry. I heard something else, but that's just me.
So she did that, right? And she
Right.
slammed the door, and she kind of, stayed in her room, sat on the bed like this.
She was looking in the corner. She was
Yeah.
looking into the corner. Of
She,
the room.
she turned her back to the world, and she was really pissed off. And 15 minutes later, I'm like, okay, guys, let's have lunch. And she says, oh, but I'm preparing a surprise for Will. I'm thinking, wait a minute, 15 minutes ago, she was so angry at him that she slammed the door right, and went to sit in a corner. And she got from that to preparing a surprise for him, right? So I thought that was quite bizarre. But she prepared a Lego surprise. She prepared it looked like a spaceship or something. She built something for him, and she put all the little Lego swords into a little box for him, and she got the Lego man there, and Will really loved it. I was like, oh, wow, I came to ask him what he thought about it, and so, that was so cool, and they were playing with it, right? And then they started to somehow, from somewhere, God knows where it came from, they started to sing the, first you have the M and then you add the at.
And we've done that. We've already talked about that.
And they've started to do the words. And I have no idea what they're doing now, but I hope they continue because they're playing really nicely together. I like that. I've never been able to do that with my brother. Maybe sometimes a little bit here and there, but never as we were never as involved as that. It's really cool.
Well, they both need to put energy into each other's activities, and I think it works because Will puts energy into Zora's ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
But then Zora plays Will's games as well. She does the Star Wars things, and
that's true.
It's really funny because they're able to find the middle ground, and I find that really, really cool. They're, they'll start playing Star Wars game with the Lego, and Zora adds in her girly things like this kitten is going on a spaceship, and they just kind of mix it together. And she still plays with her stuff with her Lego girl and a kitten and a bunny, and Will plays with his Jedis, but they manage to kind of merge it into one thing and play together.
My brain is trying to imagine that.
It's just really cool. I just find it so cool just because I had an older brother, and I don't think we went bicycling together and stuff, but I don't think that we ever managed to play this much. When he played computer games and I sat back and watched him, that was when we kind of played together, right?
Watching someone play computer games is...
He's not playing together, I know, but we would be communicating while doing that, right?
I suppose that's
so we would be like, I would be like, oh, do that and do this, and sometimes he would, and sometimes he would tell me, oh, I can't because blah, blah, blah. It's kind of interaction there.
It gives you some common ground, doesn't it? Which you need in all forms of communication.
Yeah.
Hey.
Also... sorry, I just wanted to point out that also in critical situations, right? Like if we would both be spending time at the granny's, right? Which would be like a little, not crisis, but different situation. We would stick together more closely, like help each other, watch out for each other automatically, right? So especially when we were like sent off for a holiday to our granny. Or to granddad.
Your parents sent you to your grandparents?
Yeah, that's a very traditional thing in Slovakia.
Okay.
Everybody does it, seriously. Some people even go as far as to do it since from age 1.5, right? Which is wrong in my opinion. But when kids are like around 5 years old, that's when they're perfectly capable of staying somewhere overnight without their parents. And
how long did you stay at the grandparents for when you visited?
Well, we would be there for from 3 days up to a week, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
So was this for your benefit, or the grandparents' benefit, or your parents' benefit?
I think it was all, right? All. Yes, because my parents believe that a change of scenery basically would benefit us as kids, because when you have to not adjust, but it's basically like facing a challenge, right? It'd be a little bit of a challenge for us, and at the same time, the grandparents would be there to look after us, you know.
It's nice to have the connection to the grandparents.
Yes, and you know, if you're there by yourself, if you're not there with your parents, but you're there by yourself, you have to. It's a challenge for the child, because they realize that other people have different ways of doing things, different opinions, that, you know, we had to work with different set of rules maybe. There was a new environment to discover, like my grandmother's garden and stuff. So yeah. Yeah,
when you're a kid, you like to discover things, don't you? You like to explore rooms and cupboards and
when I was a kid, I liked these situations that were a bit challenging to me. You know, even if there were things that I didn't like, I would always take it as a challenge. You know, like, oh, I have to sleep in this bed that's harder than my own bed at home, but I always took it as an adventure. You know, rather than complain about it or be miserable or wanting to go home or whatever.
At least you had a bed to sleep in, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
which kind of means something.
It could have something to do with the fact that we very often went for day-long trips in the nature or go camping with my parents. So I was used to rough conditions. Okay, like food from a can, sleeping on the ground, blah 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 blah. And it's safe, you know, safe kind of way, of course, because I had my parents there, and we said it was just camping. It was, you know, what you do in the forest. You eat from a can and you sleep on the floor, right?
In a sleeping bag, though.
Yes, of course, obviously, in a tent.
With a
yes, but it's not exactly comfortable, you know.
No, I don't know anyone who wakes up in a tent and goes, "Oh, that was a great night."
Yeah, I know. But it was good, because then when we did it as kids, as big kids, as 17-year-old people, from, you know, we went for a camping trip with our classroom, which was completely organized by the kids, right? It didn't involve teachers in any way. It was good because I knew what I was doing. You know, I knew how to build my own tent. I knew, we know what to do, how to get food, how to make food, whatever. You know,
how to cook.
Yeah, exactly. How to set a fire. Build a fire, whatever is the verb that you use.
Were there any older people there at all, or was it just?
No, that was just us. No, just kids.
And how?
Well, we were in a camping site, right? So there were other people elsewhere. In fact, we weren't in the camping site. We were behind the fence, because we would have to pay if we went into the camping site. So we were behind the fence, a little bit further off, behind the bushes, so they can't see us from there. And we used to go there to take a shower. Because they had showers and toilets.
Without paying, basically.
Of course, yes.
So sorry, how old were you?
17.
17. Oh, okay. I was imagining you were younger than that.
No, but first time I went with my friends without any supervision was when we were 14. We went to a little cottage by a lake with my friends
that's a cottage, right? That's
4 or 5 days, yeah.
That's not camping, though.
Well, it wasn't a cottage. It was like a...
I was imagining what it would be like if you got a group of kids, say, who were 7, 8, 9 years old, and you gave them all the camping stuff, right? And you said, "Okay, guys, here's the instructions. Here's everything you need."
You can't do that.
I know you can. I know you can't do that. I know. But I was just imagining
what would happen.
Yeah, what would be the result? You know, would the kids have the skills and abilities to follow the instructions, to do things safely and carefully? But it would be interesting if you could like be a fly on a wall and monitor the process of what happened. Of course.
Well, there's a international meeting of camping scouts. What do you call them? Scouts? You call them scouts? Of scouts in Bistrica. Just now, sometime now happening.
Well, I know that the Scouts is a big Christian organization.
Tents, there are tents in the Lenin's Park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, hey, I have to go for like 2 minutes, but
Yes.
I'll be back. Yeah, sorry.
Let's
Talk about the Scouts and the history.
Scouts. I'll talk about my experience with Scouts. My experience with Scouts. So what Britain has, I don't know if you're aware, what Britain has is Cubs and then Scouts and then Venture Scouts. All based on the historical ideas of, I think it was Baden-Powell, whose initials BP are used by the Scouts today. They say it means be prepared. I'm not quite sure what you should be prepared for, but that's the way it goes. There's not much I can say about the Scouts and the Cubs and all of that organization. It's nice to be with another group of young people. It's nice to go outside and do activities. It's nice to learn a little bit. What I've noticed in Slovakia is it's much more religious orientated here, that it tends to be Christian families who are involved in the scouting traditions. But it's all good, as they say. It's all good. It's definitely something that I would recommend that parents perhaps explore as an option for their children if the parents don't have enough time to take the children out into the countryside personally. A lot of scouting organizations will organize activities that get the kids together. They'll take them out, they'll do the camping and the setting up the tents and everything else connected with it. So it's another option that exists.
My sister went to scouting.
Yeah.
She had funny stories about how they had to wash the cooked meat because they had, when they went to camps, right? The kids had to do everything, like the cooking and the washing up and just basically everything, right? Excuse me, which was the teaching experience basically, right? And she said one day someone who was cooking the meat put too much salt in it and it wasn't edible. But that was their food for the day, right? They couldn't just throw it out, right? And make more because that was their food for the day. So they took the meat and they washed it in the stream and then ate it because it's
they were trying to get the salt out of it. Okay.
So that was a funny story. Or she was talking about how their nurse, the girl who was supposed to, like be the health nurse at the camp.
Okay. You have to have somebody who's experienced with first aid or something like that.
Yeah, she's hurt her knee with an axe.
Oh, the old axe injury.
Yeah, and so she just sat down on the rock and she took out the needle and the thread and she just stitched up her own knee. Right?
Jesus.
So it's quite rough, but I think it's positive in a certain way because it kind of roughens up the kids, right? But at the same time, after my sister got out of there, I think, but she still knew people from there. She learned that one of the guys who was leading the groups got a little gropey, and they had to kick him out. Right?
Yeah, that's not good.
So these, I'm always, when you say summer camp, that always comes up in my brain like a big red flag going.
Well,
ding! Like my kids somewhere with adult guys without any supervision.
Well,
I'm paranoid, right? But
what do they say? They say trust but verify.
I've been to camp.
Trust but verify.
Personally,
check everything.
Yeah. I've been to a camp 4 times in my life, and I've never had that experience, or I've never known anybody who would have that experience in camp, right? But still, I'm like, when it comes to my kids, when it comes to your kids, you just become a lot more protective and a lot more,
naturally,
paranoid about these things.
No, I don't think you're not paranoid to talk about what actually happened. Right? You do just have to look at things in perspectives. Yeah, there is always going to be one group which spoils it for all the other groups. The same way that every class has one fool who spoils it for most of the other people there.
Yeah.
So that's something that in general we have to live with.
I'm sometimes wondering because we homeschool kids, right? And we're basically protecting them from the idiots, right? From the we're basically protecting them from
straight talk.
We're basically protecting them from all bad teaching or bad teachers or abusive teachers or whatever. We're by homeschooling
none of which actually exist, of course.
By homeschooling, we're protecting them from bullying at school, or abusive kids, or even things like teasing and stuff. So our kids are growing up in an environment which is respectful, right? Just very grown up when it comes to interaction.
We try to be.
And imagine that when we send them out to a summer camp, right? Imagine you send Will at this age of 8 years old to a summer camp for 2 weeks into a environment full of kids that have grown up in the school system, which is basically a environment running on disrespect, right? Because there's no respect between, okay, that's his generalization, but very little at school between anybody, really.
Well, it's an artificial environment that requires certain survival skills.
Exactly. He would be like, maybe I'm how do you say, underestimating his skills, right? Social skills, but I think he would be slightly shocked at the level of meanness that people can display, right?
Well, a strict environment is going to bring out the harsher aspects of people's characters.
Because he doesn't really come into the contact with anything like that. The teasing or hurting just for fun, or I'll steal your hat and hide it in the toilet or something like that. I
tried to steal his lunch today.
Yeah, you did. That's true. and he does have Zora teasing him sometimes and doing stuff. But still, I'm wondering, how they would cope in an environment that is normal for everybody else, but not for him. I'm not really worried about Zora because she's kind of, I don't know. I'm more worried about Will than I would be about Zora, I think.
The way that we've parented, I think, has given him an open perspective on everything. There's not just one way to solve every problem. There's not just one way to do everything. And putting him into an environment where they do everything just one way is going to be a little bit of a shock to the system. I think that it varies so much from classroom to classroom, from school to school, and you get good teachers and bad teachers in the same school.
Yeah, I know.
You get the luck of who you sit next to in the class.
I know.
All of those elements can make huge differences. I mean, I remember the pressure that puts people under as well. The pressure the psychological pressure that's going on in terms of organization within that environment is immense. People don't realize it. People don't talk about it very much either. Anyway, one thing that sorry, I just
want to say my point is that he lives in an environment where everything is based on logic, rational kind of communication. Like,
oh, my world.
When you have a problem, you communicate about it. And putting him into a summer camp would be putting him into a environment where someone has a problem, they fight, or how kids are, right? You know how.
Well, the fastest way to get anything that you want to happen is to be aggressive.
Yeah,
it's the fastest way.
That's the thing. He's not aggressive at all, and he'd be put into an environment. By the time he would explain to somebody his point of view, he'd be ran over. Do you know what I mean?
I got picture of the Peanuts and Snoopy cartoon with everyone just like running, all the characters just like running over Will.
But do you get my point? You know, what I'm trying to say with Will. You know how you imagine him.
Well, it says a lot about the system.
Starting to discussing things.
When you worry about sending somebody, you right there. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you worry about sending somebody who is polite and has good social skills into another environment, it tells you a lot about the other environment.
It's like putting him in a jungle, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit, but I think children rise to the challenges, and much more than adults do. Adults tend to shy away from them, whereas children see those things as just all part and parcel of the process.
I think I should trust him more.
Through.
I think I don't trust him enough.
Well, we have to do the shop experiments then.
Yes.
We have to give him the task of going to the shop.
You know, he would be perfectly able to go to Bila as well, because there's a traffic lights there. He would be perfectly safe doing that.
Well, as long as he's not relying on the traffic lights as much as he's relying on his own common sense, you see.
I know
not everybody follows the traffic lights. Sorry, not everybody does.
Yeah, well, we should first start sending him to the shop behind the corner here, and then maybe we should progress naturally to further places.
I agree 100%. I noticed that it's International Girls' Day today.
Is it? Yes, it is. I know. I've noticed that as well. Yeah. It is.
So when's International Boys' Day?
I don't know. Google it.
I can't really right now.
I don't know what it is. I didn't even know it was International Girl. I didn't even know that International Girls' Day existed, but obviously it does.
Oh,
so
it's
Zora's Day.
It's not enough to have International Women's Day. You need to have International Girls' Day.
It's not enough to have International Kids' Day either, obviously. Oh my God!
Yeah, what's the point?
And now
what's the point? What's the point? If you've got International Kids' Day already, what do you need International Girls' Day for?
I don't know. And hey, you've got all this LGBT thing going on, right? You've got all this kids don't need to have genders and stuff, right? So not only you're gonna have International Girls' Day and International Boys' Day, but you're gonna have International Undeclared Sex Day.
It's just insanity. It's just
it is insane.
Insanity. You know,
totally.
when
they have
when
to
people
have
don't know
day of
who or
something
what they are, they're just confused. I respect the fact that everybody is different, but I also respect the fact that I have an opinion.
Anyway, we were talking about these kids activities, right? Like scouting. That's one of the things, one of the options for kids. And I was kind of considering it in my head for Will. You know, I was thinking that's another thing that Will could do, because I'm now trying to find a good extracurricular activity. It's a bit ridiculous to call it that because it doesn't really follow a curriculum. Sorry.
And if you go into the original meaning of the word curriculum, you don't really want to follow it because you don't know where the word comes from.
Where does it come from, Daddy? Tell us.
Well, if you imagine, go back to ancient Rome, right? And imagine the Colosseum where they had their games.
Yep.
Right? And then you imagine
curriculums like a round, something with round or something with running.
It's where they raced the chariots.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, it's the longest kind of ancient stadium where they raced chariots. If you've seen the movie Ben-Hur, classic film, Charlton Heston, I think, was the main actor. So, you know, the chariot race, a long straight and then a sharp turn, another long straight. And so that was the curriculum.
Okay.
And so it basically means charging as fast as you can to go nowhere. Right.
To just turn around the bend and then just run again, just go in circles.
That's
basically
it.
Going in circles.
Yeah, that's basically what it means.
But then that's how, you know, I have read that that big book about homeschooling. What was it called? A well-trained mind. Yes. And
where is that? Where's that book?
That's a good question. It's probably in my drawer, or
No, I don't think so.
have I left it at your mother's? I might have left it at your mother's. I don't remember. I definitely had it in Scotland, so it's either here.
It's in Scotland.
It's either here or in Scotland or in my mother's. That's because that was a stop between Scotland and here. So they have described. They had described a curriculum where you do like the whole history from like 0 to now. Well, not from 0, from minus a million to now, right? And
then, might as well just start at 0, though. It's easier.
Yeah. For the first 4 years, and then you do the same thing the next 4 years, and then you do the same thing the last 4 years, right? So it's like a cycle. Only each time you go around the cycle, you just add
in a little bit more.
Add on a bit more information, and a different, not just more information, but also a different level of exploring it, right? So the first 4 years, you are basically sucking in all the information that you can. The next 4 years, you ask why, right? And you look into the why of all the information that you're sucking in still. And the last 4 years are the creative years when you start building your own opinion, forming your own opinion and expressing yourself about it. So you study it even deeper, and you form an opinion on it, or express it, or pass it on, or whatever you want to call it. So it is kind of running in circles,
Well, the idea that the repetition is part of
learning.
The learning process. It's also part of life's habits. So it's not always a bad thing. That's very true.
Yeah.
Definitely. Lunchtime revelations. A bit of a revelation at lunchtime about the food.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was nice. I thought we'd share that.
Yeah. We did have a revelation. I must say that the idea didn't come entirely from my head, because I've seen the idea on forums before, but never tried it myself.
Little things that make big differences.
Yeah. Kids sometimes don't eat, right? Our kids sometimes don't eat. I put food on their plates, and they're like, me, have 4 bites and then run off and do something else. And I'm not the kind of mother who says, you're going to sit here until you finish your food, because I think that's ridiculous.
We do make them ask to leave the table, though. I think that's quite important.
They have to ask to leave the table. Yeah.
Please, can I leave the table?
You see, this is a British thing. I didn't even know that was the polite way of doing things. I didn't know that was.
All these polite things come from Britain originally.
Seriously, yeah. I was, when you first introduced that, I just found it like a kind of weird freak control thing.
Oh. Oh, he says, oh.
So.
Oh.
And this is the thing, when a Slovak person comes to Britain, there's a massive culture shock, because you're just being normal, what's considered polite here in Slovakia, and after a few days you realize that people are considering that impolite or rude, and then you're like, okay, and then you feel really bad about that, because you're not being rude, you're just being your normal, polite, perhaps shy self,
Yeah, but you're not being. There's a contradiction in there, because you're not being polite if you're being rude. I mean, that's.
But you're not. But if you were in
Slovakia,
Slovakia,
way to do things.
If you were in Slovakia, that would be considered super polite and fine.
Yeah, there's a right way to do things, and there's a right way for a reason. And the reason is that the method. The way how you do something is very important.
I know.
In getting things correct.
I know. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you learn how to be polite, right? And you express that you're all polite in Slovakia, and that's all fine, and everybody's perfectly happy with that, and everybody considers you a polite person. And then you come to Britain, and everybody thinks you're an ass because you're so rude. Because you are polite, but you're not polite enough for the British. Because your level of politeness is like, right? So for you, it's basic politeness for the kids to ask to leave the table, right? But if you tell that to a Slovak child, that'd be like, what?
Well, the British have a habit of
right.
upsetting the world. So
Do they?
by taking things to a different level or in a different direction. We're not going to get political, but just take Brexit, for example. No other state or organization or country was able to get their stuff together enough to say no to something. Except for Britain, who were
even though right after the Brexit happened, all the Britain started to panic and everybody started to go,
no, it's not everybody.
How can we reverse this?
It's definitely not everybody. It's a small political group, but a very powerful political group that tries to mobilize public opinion. And the average person doesn't care very much because they've got their own SHIT to deal with. So Scotland couldn't get it together enough to form independence.
Imagine.
Well, they're not going to. You get one chance per generation, and we seem to be as good at getting independence as we are at qualifying for the World Cup.
No, but seriously, I mean, imagine in the history, right? The history when Scottish people were fighting the English and dying for independence. Imagine
that's the speech in Braveheart, isn't it?
Imagine them being here now and witnessing how people just decided not to vote for independence when they had this peaceful, quiet possibility of just going and throwing a piece of paper, nobody dying, right? Nothing. I mean, they died for it in the past.
Yeah, but that's previous generations.
Right.
You have to realize that each generation has its own issues.
I know, but I was just imagining if those people from the past could visit today and witness how people just, sitting down, watching tellies, just decided not to go and vote for independence or to go and vote against.
Voting is just giving, it's just giving more blood to the vampires, isn't it? So it's kind of pointless in a way. I mean, I had a big discussion with a client about that recently, and here's the way to look at it, right? I mean, we won't talk about it, but here's the way to look at it, right? When you have a problem with your car, you take your car to the garage where there's a mechanic, and you either trust the garage or you trust the mechanic to know what they're doing. You take it to a specialist. When you get sick, you go to visit a doctor, right? Someone who's trained for years in recognizing symptoms and prescribing the right kinds of medicine. Now, of course, like nobody's perfect at their job. We all make mistakes, blah, 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 right? But when we vote for someone we don't even know anything about to do something about something that we have no experience with.
And they tell you they're going to do something, and you don't know if you can. You don't have any contract with them, right? I mean, if someone
voting is a contract, so
if someone, well, no, it's not. It's not. Do you sign the ballot? You don't sign your name on anything. It's anonymous. It's not a contract.
Yeah, okay.
If you got a person that you want to do a job, you hire someone, they say, okay, I'll paint your house for you, right? You sign a contract so that, if you give them the materials and the money, they will do the work. A politician tells you, okay, I'm going to do this for you, right? I'm going to, I don't know, change this and this law or whatever. You pay them by giving them your voice, right? And your tax money as well.
Okay.
And they have no obligation to fulfill their promises. They're going to get there to the office and they can just say, oh, well, we've reviewed the situation and we decided that the best would be if this stayed the way it is.
Well,
there's nothing you can do with it. You hired him, you freaking paid him, but you don't have anything signed, you don't have a contract.
Well, I get that point. I mean, my issues with things like money management, right? You've got people who are unemployed who can't find a job, right? You've got people who are unable to find a job, they don't have any skills, yet they're going to vote for how somebody else is going to manage money when they've got no experience of managing their own money. I mean,
okay, darling, I'll help you, okay? Can I go and help Jasmine?
What's up with her?
Oh, she's got problems.
What's the problem? That's because the tablets weren't charged, That's because the tablets weren't charged yesterday. Because everybody went to bed early. Because we're trying to get to bed earlier so we get a good night's sleep in so that we're fresh in the mornings. So, this is the Practical Parenting Podcast, and if you're interested in a little bit more information about what we do, we're live on Facebook every day, Monday to Friday. Well, every day where we can fit in a little bit of information about how we parent and what it is that we're doing. If you've got any questions, you can write them in the chat. We take questions and then we can answer them in the next Practical Parenting Podcast. You can also check out the previous videos that we've done. You can visit YouTube, and it's the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching on YouTube. And
are we saying bye?
Are you going somewhere?
Sorry?
You're bouncy today.
Yeah.
Bouncy.
I was just looking at the time there, and I was thinking, it's not that late. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was 1:30. It's only 1:03, so that's okay, right? That's what happens.
Talking about numbers.
When you can't see.
Talking about numbers. We were talking about... let's move on. Talking about...
we're talking about kids.
Well, Will's kids actually. Will's training stuff. What's happening with that?
Well, we wanted to send him to Judo Lessons because that's about 15 minutes from here by walking, and he's got an experience with some martial arts before.
So, but you were telling me they don't like the trainer.
He did Taekwondo, but he didn't. He went there and he didn't like it there. Because of the people there, because of the coach, basically.
The coach was too aggressive,
she never smiled. First of all, she never smiled. She didn't
always
communicate.
Be skeptical of people who never smile.
She never. I came to talk to her, right? And I came to talk. I was like, okay, we would like to see this lesson, and maybe he could try it out, see if he would like it. Blah blah blah. She didn't smile at me. She was like, I just find it rude.
Like a robot, maybe.
She just looked at me and she said, "Yeah, okay then. This is rude. She's rude." And she's the same to the kids, right? She would go like, "You two don't talk," She's like, "No talking, no running. Hey, you're supposed to be doing that. What are you doing? You're doing the wrong thing." And she just, she did the coaching, but it was like zero happiness.
Well, zero coaching skills, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys, but Judo
the kids there were okay, and they had two other coaches. Two guys, of which one of them was cool with the kids. He was like, he did smile and he was better with the kids. And the third one was just kind of somewhere in between.
You don't want to send your kids to spend time with people who don't enjoy what they're doing.
But I didn't like that woman. I just didn't like her because she looked like she doesn't like anybody, right? and she looked like she was suffering, basically.
You should have asked her.
Are you suffering?
Yeah, why not? I mean, maybe they are suffering. You don't know. I mean,
I don't.
Are you okay? You're looking a bit tensed and stressed there.
Will didn't enjoy it. Okay. At one point, he was sent to sit down on a bench while the other kids were doing something because it was quite specific, and he didn't have a partner, and he wasn't trained in that or whatever. He was just watching. So at one point, she was like, "Okay, well, sit down now. You're just going to watch." And he was sitting down on the bench, like further on in the corner, and I saw him sitting there, so I waved at him. I was like, "Come here." And he was actually scared to get up from that bench and come to me because the coach told him to sit down.
Okay.
So he was actually scared of her or stressed out, or I don't know.
Well, there's that kind of skill that the kids need to have with realizing when somebody's wrong. Something. I mean, that's really important. I mean, kids are sort of told to, just listen to the adults and do what they tell you. But the kids need also to be able to realize that the adults are not always right. And,
he needs to build up a bit of a what do you call a hippo skin in Slovak?
Excuse me.
A hippo skin. A thicker skin, basically. You have to do a thicker skin, so you don't.
We say kind of elephant skin.
You don't get everything that just because it's an authority, it doesn't have to influence you that much, or you know, they have to realize that they're adults and they're adults, right? They have to realize that.
Yeah, but you also have to realize you mentioned a little bit earlier about the nefarious activities of some adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the children have to have awareness skills enough to the level of to question when an adult asks them to do something, whether or not it's actually the right thing to do, because an adult could ask a younger person, or even an older child could ask a younger child to do something which is wrong.
I think it must
kids
be,
have to know that.
It must be something about self-confidence and awareness, realization that an adult is not a god. Because when I was a kid, I had exactly the same kind of attitude like Will has right now, which we have to train him in that area somehow. You know, I was like, it's an adult, it's a god. And I felt like I have to listen to them, whatever they say, okay? And I was scared of them because they were big and they had much more power than me. And I didn't, at any point in time, think of the adults as they're providing a service for me, for example, right?
Oh, I never thought that about school. School was something that I was forced to go to and had to, you know, fight my way through. And I never realized that the teachers were there to provide a service. It never even occurred to me.
Or when I went to get guitar lessons, right? I would be scared. Well, yeah, basically, you know, if I didn't practice my guitar, for example, I would be scared of the teacher because I would be like, oh my gosh, I've done something wrong and he's going to tell me off. He was God, I was nothing. And I never ever realized that, wait a minute, my parents pay him to teach me. So therefore he has to do it in a way that suits me, and I have a certain amount of power. You know, I can criticize him, I can give him suggestions, I can tell him what I want. I never realized that. I just thought he's an adult, he's got all the power, because that's what they teach you at school, right? That's what they teach you in a parenting style. When you've got authoritative, is that? Yeah. Authoritative parents. That's what they teach you as well, right? There's a big person, the little person has to listen to the big person. End of story. They're the boss. So I thought my guitar teacher was the boss, where I was actually the boss in the situation. My parents and me, were the boss.
I remember saying to my piano teacher, you know, can we learn something else, something that I'd like, and the piano teacher was like, well, you have to learn this first, and then this first, and then this first. And I get it. You have to get the basics. I get it, but you know, there are many roads that you can travel down to get those basics,
and ways to communicate as well. I mean, have I told the teacher at the age of 13, right? Have I told him, excuse me, but my parents are paying you for, you know, for teaching me the guitar, and I'm not happy with these lessons. Is there something that we can do about it? Could you maybe, you know, think of something else that you can put into there so that it's more interesting for me, because I don't like the stuff that we're doing, right?
You know what just occurred to me?
I haven't finished my sentence. If I said that,
apologies.
If I said that to the teacher, I would be considered to be impudent, you know, cheeky, and be like arrogant even. Whereas I wouldn't be. That would just be me being assertive and realizing, you know, this is my right. I'm paying this person for a service. So I think this is what we have to teach the kids, to communicate their needs and rights in a polite way.
To stand firm. Basically.
So that they don't have to, because when they're feeling powerless, sometimes they, you know, they can lash out, shout, or just, you know, have a tantrum. They can start shouting at the teacher, you know, yeah, you're nothing, or whatever, or swear, just because they're feeling powerless in a situation. I think that if we teach them to communicate their needs and rights in a polite manner, that's something that...
The manner matters.
Yes.
There's another meme we need to make.
Absolutely.
The manner matters.
So maybe that's what we should teach Will, that he's not the victim in the situation, that he's got a certain amount of power.
The manner matters, for sure. For sure. Will, if you'd like to ask a question, you can. We'll be finished in 5 minutes, so very quickly. Okay? What's the question?
Yes.
Okay. Mommy says yes. That's fine by me. Broken Sword episode 2.
Yeah,
Let's download
that's fine.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's already paid for. Well, is it?
You see, you've started the course now.
If he sees that, but he's not stupid. If it's already downloaded, it'll be for free for him to download. If there's a amount of money, he will know to come and tell me.
Right. I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something. I've kept it. I've focused very strongly.
Okay.
And kept it in the back of my mind, and it is the idea that when I went back and talked to my parents about the piano lessons, which I did years later, I remember this clearly now. That we talked about why I only had piano lessons for like a year and not any longer.
Yeah.
And we talked about the fact that I didn't like the teacher that I had. She was teaching in the old school method, which didn't work with me.
There's like sharpened pencils under your hands so that you don't drop your wrists down.
Up my ass, maybe.
That's what they did. That's what they do in Slovakia.
And the hands or the
hands?
The hands, okay, right. So,
sharp pencils like that, so that you hold your hands like that.
Okay. Anyway, I remember my mother saying, "Yeah, she wasn't very good, was she?" And then nothing. Well, if she wasn't good, well, get another one. Get a better one. Change it. I was just a kid. I didn't know. I was just, you need piano lessons. Okay, I guess I'll try it. I'll do anything, whatever, right? And the result is, well, she wasn't very good. And then
did you enjoy?
They didn't even explore another possibility.
I know, but it's hard. It's, maybe they thought.
Will, if you've got a question, please, only one more question, though, because we have to finish this.
He needs more space on his tablet. Why don't you get rid of the old broken sword that you already finished?
That would make sense. What do you want to remove from the tablet, Will?
The smart recorder. Darling, you have to wait until we finish.
You're going to have to wait till we finish. You're going to have to wait 2 minutes.
And then we will solve the problem. Yes, darling?
You didn't close the gate. She's all over the cables. And
what's up?
Little one.
Wait.
Little one.
What is it? Where are we going?
Oh, it's all.
A banana? You want a banana? Will's going to get you a banana.
Will, please get your sister a banana, and then we'll deal with the next thing. Okay, one thing at a time. Right, as chaos breaks out in the living room and across the flat, it's time for us to say thank you very much for listening.
It's time for a banana.
It's time for a banana as well. We are the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching on YouTube and Facebook. Find out more about the videos, the episodes, the education, everything that's going on there. Here comes a banana. It's the website is www.nsa-slovakia.com, and you do your thing and I'll peel the banana.
Yes, and it's 21 Century Mum, spelled MUM.com, where you find some nice blog posts and where you find, here you go, a little bit of support and information for mothers of young kids. So head over there.
Yeah, and leave any questions online and we'll get around to reading them. Interact with us. We like that. And wherever you are, have a wonderful, fantastic day. We'll be back real soon with a lot of new and cool stuff for you.
We are preparing something.
You're doing that weird dance thing again.
Yeah, I'm doing the butt bump.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, look, I've got banana skin now. Right. That's it.
Better than having orange skin.
Apparently the smell of oranges relaxes people, but would you stop it with banana stuff? I don't want this. I don't want banana skin.
It's supposed to be good for warts.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to finish the video.
Bye.
It's all getting all very silly now. Okay, bye-bye.